Good morning. This is Kula Dula from OptionScalps, and this is another edition of our pre-market live show. Let's take a look at this morning. Okay, so yesterday we had a huge profit-taking candle. What it seems like, right? A huge profit-taking candle. We did exactly as kind of what we expected. We expected some profits to be taken. We expected shorts yesterday. I talked about a visit to 570. We got a visit to 569.89. We found a bounce right off of that level. And it looks like today's range is something similar. I think today's kind of a wasted trade day in regards to SPY. I have a feeling that our range is going to be between 575, maybe a little bit of extra there, a little bit of juice there. And let me pull this up. Hold on. But I do think it's range bound at this point. Okay. I think that we saw some data this morning. The data did show that the PCE price did drop. Okay. Your core PCE right here did drop to 0.1% from the previous 0.2%. So it gives us an indication that our PCE is declining, and our core PCE. Year over year, it is up still slightly a tick. That happened a couple months ago. But here's the real thing. Here's what you really need to be focused on, in my opinion. Real personal consumption dropped from 0.4 to 0.1, and then wholesale inventories month over month, we saw a drop in those as well. And to me, that shows that there is some constraining on spending. And so is this a sign for weakness in the upcoming market? It definitely could be so. Our swing meter here is kind of having a consolidation. I think that we'll probably find ourselves maybe making a push up at one point before we make that next drop down. So our friends over here at Gamma Edge, today, expiration, we don't really have anything huge. It looks like 575 to 571, so kind of range bound, like we were talking about. If we add in next week now, we start looking at this and saying that the floor goes to 565. Top is 575 still, and our bottom is 572. So very much pinned, very much pinned. I do think that we'll find ourselves maybe making that push, right? So if we look at this, was this a pullback, profit taking, right? A confirmation, no new low here. Is this a pullback? Now we're above our neckline here. I think that 574 is definitely going to be ran at today. Now, do we get continuation or not? I'm going to say no. You might get a little bit, little false breakout here, but I think it'll ultimately roll over. It won't go any lower than 571, in my opinion, but the range is the range. The range is all the way back down to 568.91, 569. So I do find this that will likely make that push over, and I think that we'll just kind of chop today. Will not be worth it, in my opinion, to trade today. I'm still gonna look for some trades, but that is what it is at this point. Yesterday we still haven't got that just yet. All right, let's take a look at Tesla real quick. Yes, Tesla was a great short yesterday. This was a short that we looked at right here on Tesla, right to 250. and that was a nice one. Tesla is breaking out. Watch for it to return back to this range right here, and potentially have a rollover day. Maybe potentially even be, if it does break outside, so it needs to prove it to us, right? At this point, you know, we hadn't got back to this range back at 260. If we push back up to this range at 260, I think that we'll find ourselves, you need to be watching for maybe some type of potential break towards 261, but I don't think it's going to close over 261 today. I'd be kind of shocked if we got over 261 today. In fact, there will probably be, you know, a lot of people talking about some type of head and shoulders flush back to this 250 range, and I think that's a possibility. It's a real possibility. So watch for that move, maybe right here, and then what they're trying to do, what they're trying to say. I'm seeing some people on X talk about it. They're saying, you know, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? Uh, I I don't really look at it like that here. I do find ourselves in a bearish type of block here. We'll see if it wants to reject it, or if this is something where we make that initial push up here and then we get sold down, confirm, and then maybe make another rush back at it. But I do think the close is no more than 260 today. I think that's probably about where we're gonna be at. I don't see us necessarily running for anything crazy, but if we do run down, 252 probably be the target for the downside. I think it'll probably find a bounce. I think you're range bound between 261.65 and 252 today. Don't be surprised if you see some type of squeeze and continuation into next week. Okay? Don't be surprised. If we do, if you look at this and you zoom out and you look at this, and we get the push up to 260 and then the drop, and then we get the run back, that would almost look like confirmation for a run at 271 in the upcoming week. Options data. Sorry guys, I'm still sick. I'm trying to get over it. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling the options data. We'll come back to it. I don't know what's going on. NVDA was another short. This was a short we took yesterday. We had a two-phase short, or two target short. This was a scalp for confirmation, and then we had the full short for our strat. And it got both of them. However, we did get stopped on this revisit here. We got stopped. We took our profits here, and then our runners that were looking for the full strat, we didn't get to take advantage of it because we got stopped here. This came and nabbed our break even. It is what it is. That's just this. That is purely how it goes sometimes, and that's the tough thing about options. But it is the plan worked. Had we been playing shares, or had we potentially even averaged in, they potentially could have went a different way for us. But you just kind of play your setup, you lock it in, and you know what you need to do. There's no guesswork. There's no guesswork. Okay, so NVIDIA today, you want to talk about the head and shoulders, right? This is the head and shoulders that I would look for. The 120 visit. If you do see this thing break down below 123.56, you know, this was a really nice bullish momentum move here. So there will be a lot of buyers between 123, 123.58, right in this range. If you see this breakdown, watch for a potential continuation down to 121.18 or 121.80, and then additionally to 120. I think you do need to watch this. Your stop would be virtually at 124.44. Now, if we break to the upside, watch us revisit 125 and potentially 126.44. before a potential rollover. The same thing like Tesla, right? You have your consolidation block right here that distributed to the downside, and then at this point, it will, when it revisits this, it'll either make a decision to run through it or bounce right off it. So you need to be cognizant of that. Your actual low on that block is right there, and we'll see. But for me, over the top of 124.46, you could look for calls to run up here, but at this point, I don't think that's worth it. I'd rather take the breakdown below. You got breakdown and hold below 123.55, and then once you see it hold below there, then you look to short that back down to 121 and 120. Stop would be virtually at 124.42. Okay, so want to take a look at some Tesla options here. But before we do that, let me take a look at the Qs real quick. Qs really is an interesting thing because Qs haven't made an all-time high just yet. But this was a big sell and a bounce off the neckline here, right? And so we need to be cognizant of that level right there, 484.54. Got awful close. It closed the gap here and then found the bounce. So for me, you can look at this a couple different ways. You can say, kind of like we were talking about on Tesla, it found the confirmation bounce. You could look to go long on this to go over 500, and then and your stop would be virtually below 485 here. You can look at that as a swing from where we're at, and you just keep buying until it goes. Realistically, even this is not an awful RVR, but you're virtually right here. You don't want to see it break below this, and in fact, you could probably run this right here. Looking for 500, 502. It's not a terrible RVR. It's really a nice RVR, and see how that plays. The only thing you need to be careful of is a swipe of that low and then a run back down here. That would be what you need to be careful about. So take some profits, trim some profits there for some type of breakdown, reversal, double top right there. Okay, the thing I want to look at on Tesla options, I'm going to go back. Sorry for backtracking. In the next week, we do see the top is indicating that 270, getting closer to 270 is kind of developing as the top. You start adding. Let's go here. You go into the next month of October now, or excuse me, the next week of October. You're starting to get 280 to start to develop, but you also see a bottom of 235 drop. Look at the spread there, right? So we're gaining quite a bit, 10 points on either way, right? So the expected move in 2 weeks of Tesla is upwards 10, almost 9%, almost 9% here in 2 weeks. So Tesla is there's money to be made, and I think if you look at it like that, that there's a 10% move, there's going to be money to be made on some straddles. So you need to start doing some calculations and look at that, because I do think that that will pay 100%. You don't move 10% and not be able to make money. Okay, so that's going to do it this morning. Like I said, I think today is relatively bullish to try to test yesterday's high days. If we do get a break of those high days and we see a continuation, then great. Follow it till you see some type of breakdown. But today, I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm more leaning towards the side of dealers want this thing to close. Tesla at 260 or below. The Qs, they want this to close below 495. And SPY, they want to close at 570 or close to 570 as possible. And yeah, and NVDA 120. And so, guys, this was a excellent call from us yesterday. We got the full move yesterday. We even talked about Micron. Okay, we talked about Micron being a short at open. And I had some guy come on there and talk to me and say that I was wrong. The premiums were going to be jacked. Well, the premiums were jacked prior. But once you open on the day after earnings, they're still a little elevated, but they drop significantly. And so we looked for that short there. We got that short, and we didn't ride it all the way down, but I do think this thing will find its way. Watch for a breakdown below the gap here. We may revisit in this range to this 112, 113 range. I don't know if we're going to get continuation here. I would say relatively doubt that. I would look for this thing to say, make this move right here before trying to make that move up. So I think dealers want this in this range right here. They want this in this range in a close today. So this does have money to be made. You need to be looking. If you do see this thing break below, say 108, 108.08 right there, watch for a potential continuation down to that 104 range. That was the expected volatility move. That's virtually where they were looking to. That was the max, okay, for the earnings. So let's see if it does get a close blow there, or we're going to get a bit of a gamma squeeze and maybe try to run up a little bit more. If you start looking at structure on this, level at perfectly at 111 here. Okay, so if I had to guess, there'll be two areas of wanting to close, right? You'll say that it'll want to close on this level here, above this level, so 105.72. That would be a lot closer to those dealers. I think that they would run it below and get a close there, or you're going to get a close at 111. Those are my two guesses on that, but I do think they want to run this back down into this range today. So be cognizant, watch for a potential breakdown below this 108 level and see if this thing wants to. And to be clear, if we do spend some time above 111.05 and then we get a breakdown below 109, you could take that short and look for that to move down towards the low a day for yesterday and potentially into our zone that we're talking about where dealers want it. But that's a little additional one there. Somebody asked me about it. I figured I would do it. Hey, listen, while I got you on here, I want to talk about our VIP premium. If you're not sure about the market, we do have a Discord. Want to learn a little bit more about how we dial into what we do. We have if you go to wop.com/OptionScalps right here in the address bar here, you will find that we have a free community that you can join. You get access to our options mastery book, live trade alerts, educational content, our custom strategy indicator, and a lot more. We have several different plans, $14.99 a week, $4.99 a month. That comes with a 2-day trial. But if you just want to dip your toes in the water, maybe try it for a week. It's $14.99. And yesterday we had some great plays. We had a 75% play. We had a 200% plus play, and I think NVDA ended up turning. I'll have to look now, but I don't remember what that turned into. I don't know what the net earnings was because we took the break even, so I'd have to look. But anyways, that's it. Just wanted to invite you guys out. Check that out if you want to. If you don't, who cares? Keep watching us on the morning show. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.